Penny, we get a lot of questions about strategic planning. People ask us, how long does it take? How involved is it? What do I have to do? They just really wonder how complicated it is. So maybe we could start off at a high level first and talk about the top reasons that an economic development organization would want to undertake a strategic plan.
Sure, Crystal, where a lot of times they're up against a deadline. Maybe they need a plan to be the foundation for a grant application or another community process. And I think when people are new in a job, then that is an obvious time to sort of lay out a strategic vision, make sure you're getting everybody on board. And so a strategic plan is really, timely for almost any economic development organization that needs to communicate its goals.
Mm-hmm.
So once you want to get a strategic plan, what would the process look like?
Well, there are definitely different levels of a process. So, of course, a lot of people think about a comprehensive planning process, and that would have a lot of engagement across the community with leaders and businesses and civic leaders, elected leaders in the community, and really would take a deep dive in several areas of the economic development program. But we also do work with communities that want a more streamlined action plan that's really just focused on their organization's program of work. It's very streamlined, and maybe the engagement there is at a higher leadership level. We also do work with communities that just want what we call a strategic framework. That usually is a much more streamlined process and gives them an outline for their economic development program. And then sometimes we just work with a general 1 year program of work, which really just looks for that year, that coming year, and what they want to accomplish. So one of the questions we get asked, especially if you're thinking about levels of engagement, is who should be involved in a planning process?
Right. So just like the different levels of plan that you just shared, you need to be sure that you match who's involved. So, an 1 year action plan might just be your internal team. But as you make a broader and longer term strategic plan, you need to include the business community, certainly your elected officials, your own governing board, and maybe other partners in economic development. It could be tourism or agriculture, but the other resources who are also going to need to be aligned with your economic development strategies.
Sometimes I think about that broad, economic development team, that whole broad group of people that it takes to be successful in economic development. But what are some of the pitfalls that we've seen in the planning process?
Sure. Well, obviously, if you don't have the right people involved, then that can have a lot of unforeseen circumstances that might make your plan unsuccessful, even if it was the right plan at the right time. I've also seen turnover either in that economic development organization or in another key partner, maybe the municipality or the county.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have a champion and leaders working on the strategic plan, it's going to be hard for it to be successful. So when you want to get your plan going,
Mm-hmm.
what would your implementation look like?
Well, I oftentimes say that planning is the hard part. The planning is the easy part. The doing is the hard part on strategic planning. So really drawing out those strategic plan items into your program of work each year based on your budget, and really use that to help form your budget request. So you've got them into your program of work, you've got metrics, you're tracking them each year, and then once a year, take a deep dive into the strategic plan, usually in like an annual planning retreat process, to course correct if the new things have emerged in your local economy. Maybe there have been some new opportunities that have come up that were not on the horizon when you completed the planning process, or maybe just something shifted and it's just not valid anymore. So that annual check-in and course correction of the strategic plan is really important to make sure it's a dynamic document. So if it's been a while since you've updated your strategic plan and you've got some questions about how involved it'll be, one of the things you can do, of course, is call us. But look on our website to our list of clients. You'll see a lot of your economic development colleagues there. You can contact them and learn about their strategic planning process and really how they've used it to advance the economic development efforts in their community.